All right, welcome everybody. We're so excited to be here with you for our final winter webinar series. And Justin would argue that we saved the best for last. Would you agree with that, Justin? Yes, I think he would.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to dive in. We've got some great content for you today. We're going to be sharing everything you need to know and do to prospect your way to 100 transactions per year. We're talking some new school stuff. We're talking some old school stuff. And it's great to see everyone joining us. So first things first, if you're going to be using the chat today, which we encourage you to do so, make sure you change your chat setting to say to everyone, because a lot of you will send messages to hosts and panelists. Change that to everyone, so that way everyone can see your chats today. Also, they dropped the workbook in the chat. Make sure you get that printed off. There are some free resources in there that I'm not going to get a chance to cover today. There's the workbook right there in the chat. So get your hands on that workbook and get that printed off, because there's some resources in there, some free resources that I won't get a chance to share with you today. And I want to make sure that you have the best of the best tools to win for this new market. Next, I want to know, where's everyone joining us from? Great to see everyone. LA in the house. I love that. Detroit, of course. Detroit basketball. Yes. Chicago, Kalamazoo. Let's see where everyone's joining us from today. All over the US. I see some Canada, Huntsville, Alabama, Tennessee, Rhode Island, New England region in the house. Green Bay. I won't get started on Green Bay, but we're happy you're here, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Justin and I are diehard Lions fans. So anyways, all right, let's go ahead and jump in. You got your workbook, get that printed out, because first things first, I want to go through a couple hot free resources, but there's a ton more in that workbook that you're going to want to get your hands on. So make sure you get that printed out. First things first, my name is Jeff Glover. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. Been listing and selling homes now. This May will be my 20th year in the business, 21st year, year in the business this May. Hard to believe it's been so long. And the one thing for those of you that are first timers, by the way, hey, I love Dan Campbell too. Thank you for that, Mike. We do too. I want to see my first timers. If this is your first Glover U webinar ever, first Glover U anything, go ahead and throw in the chat, first timer, rookie in Glover U webinar, raise your hand. Let me see our first timers in there. Great to see so many first timers taking a chance on us. We promise when we're done today, this will be worth the price of admission. That was a joke. Anything would be worth the price of admission because it was free. So it better be worth it, right? All right. So for those of you that are first timers, I'm going to share with you a couple quick things, and I want you to take notes on this. For those of you that are second, third, fourth, fifth, 500th timers, just bear with me for the next about 4 to 5 minutes while I share with them some great resources that you've been able to take advantage of through the years. So first things first, Glover U is a non-denominational, we say, broker agnostic training and coaching company for agents from all brokerages from the US and Canada. We now have, I believe, over 600 clients between the US and Canada attending that are in our coaching programs, and now our events are attracting over 1,000 attendees. And that's agents from all brokerages, leaders from all brokerages. And the first thing I want to get out in today's session before we get into the meat and potatoes is a few free resources, starting with what I think is the most valuable resource, and that's actually a copy of my 2023 business plan. This plan is the exact same one that I'm using in my personal business. I'll sell between 75 and 85 homes a year this year. Our team here in Detroit will sell over 1,000 homes per year. I'm going to share with you the exact plan that we're using, and I'm going to give it to you for free. For those of you that already have your business plan done, I encourage you to go get your hands on this anyways, because there might be a handful of things in our plan that you could get some value from. So first things first, what I want you to write down in your workbook, as you saw it was dropped there in the chat once again, I want you to write gloveru.com/plan. There it is again, gloveru.com/plan. And that's actually going to take you to our 2023 business plan, and includes a PDF copy and a 90-minute instructional video to go along with it. Now, if you click on that, it's going to take you into the Glover U shop. It's going to say it's $50. I'm going to give you a code to get it for free. All right. So there it is in the chat. If you want to click on that, you can get that out of the way right now, or just save that and do it later. Either one is fine. The code to get that plan for free. So I'm going to give you 100% off. The code to get that plan for free is Winter Webinar, all one word. Winter Webinar, all one word. Winter Webinar. There it is in the chat. Okay. That's the 2023 business plan. You probably already have your plan done. It's early February. You should have your plan done. But if you want to add some value to your current plan, or you want to add some techniques and some tactics to your current plan, I encourage you to get your hands on that. That's the 2023 business plan. No, that is not the planner. We always have people that'll email us and say, hey, the code isn't working for the planner. That's completely different. That's the business plan that I'm giving away free, which is still a $50 value. Okay, that's resource number one. Resource number two, we produce the Unreal Life magazine. In fact, here it is right here. We produce 60,000 copies of these, and they go out to top producers all across the US and Canada. We give these away for free. I pay for the printing, I pay for the postage. Here's how you get your hands on it. Go ahead and take out your cell phones. I'll show you how to do it right now. Take out your cell phones and open up your Facebook app. And in your Facebook app, there's a little magnifying glass at the top right-hand corner. You're going to search Glover U Inner Circle. All right, it'll come up, it'll look like that. Glover U Inner Circle. Click join, and when it asks you your information, you're going to want to make sure you put in your mailing address. Why? Because it is a physical magazine, and a lot of people end up putting their email address in. So don't put your email address in. Tell us where you want us to send it. We'll send it to your house. We'll send it to your office, wherever you want it to go. That's the Unreal Life magazine. Tons of real estate sales, business, marketing, content, really good stuff, good leadership stuff in here as well. Take advantage of that. The third and final resource, probably our most popular resource right now. I think we have just about 20,000 producers that receive this now, and that is our daily text. If you receive the daily text message from me, can you throw that down in the chat? I want to see if you guys are getting some value from that. Is that something you want me to continue doing? If you receive the daily text message, let me know if that's valuable to you. And I want to make sure that you're still receiving them, most importantly, too. That helps also, right? Good. All right. Yeah, a lot of you guys are getting that. Awesome. Love it. Okay, good. So here's how you get your hands on that. By the way, if you're wondering, what is this daily text that Jeff's talking about here? I send out, I write a message every single day, Monday through Friday, about things you need to know and do to succeed in this market right now. Well, the good news is I'm sending out information that's very relevant and very inspirational. It's very informative. Sometimes it's mindset tactics, which is what I'm doing right now. Other times it's, hey, I went on an appointment last night. Here's what the seller said to me. Here's how I responded. And it really just depends on what's going on in the business that particular day. Great. Thank you for saying that, Angela. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about and you would like to sign up for free, let me share with you how you do that. You're going to open up your text messages, just as if you were texting a new friend. Go ahead. I'll do it with you right now. Open up your text messages. The phone number is 55444. The phone number is 55444. And you're texting the word morning to that. That's that simple. Text morning to 55444. There it is in the chat. Now, if you're in Canada, all right, that little short code, the 5-digit code, it works in the US, but it doesn't work in Canada. However, we still send the text message out to our Canadian friends, but you have to, there's a workaround, and I'll share with you how you get that. You're going to email info@gloveru.com, and in the subject line, just put daily text. So for my Canadian friends, you're going to email info@gloveru.com. And in the subject line, just put daily text. And in the body of the email, first name, last name, phone number. That's it. The body of the email, first name, last name, phone number, the subject line, daily text. You're emailing that to info@gloveru.com. For my Canadian friends, we'll get you set up. Also, we always get a question, somebody message to hosts and panelists. Again, remember, if you want everyone to see your messages, change that to everyone. What happens, Jeff, if I'm already in the inner circle, but I'm not receiving the magazine? there's a workaround. This is for the handful of you that are in the inner circle, but you're not receiving this. You're going to go to gloveru.com/mag. gloveru.com/MAG. That will get you the copy of this if you're already in the Facebook group. Okay, so just to recap, we got the daily text message done. Texting the word morning to 55444. You got the Unreal Life magazine. I gave you the 2023 business plan, and you got a free Facebook group loaded with value. There are your resources. If you printed off your workbook, there's probably another half a dozen resources. I mean, heck, you could run your whole business this year off of our free resources if you wanted to. Of course, if you want to take it to the next level, then that's where you get involved in coaching like so many top producers do. But I'd like to shift gears right now, and I'd like to go into today's topic on prospecting your way to 100 transactions. Now, when people hear prospecting, they instantly think cold calls. Please know that cold calls are absolutely a part of prospecting. There's no doubt. But more important than cold calls is what you say, who you say it to, what you message, what you email, how you can use video in your prospecting, how you can use social media in your prospecting. It's not just cold calling. Cold calling is an aspect, no doubt. But when people hear prospecting, and Justin knows this better than anyone, they instantly think, I don't want to pick up the phone and call a stranger. It's a lot more than that. And so we're excited to dive into today's topic. Justin, if you guys are not familiar, Justin was not only our rookie of the year, he ran our inside sales team, sold 100 homes his first year. I mean, this guy is like the definition of a prospecting based agent. And he's the reason why he runs our prospecting boot camp. I put him in charge of training all of our agents on how to prospect before we even did that. So he is the absolute authority on prospecting. And I'll tell you, he even beat me on New Year's Day for appointment set. Now, that's the first time that's happened in a long time. Might be the last time. We'll see. But anyways, please join me in welcoming Justin Ford. Justin, let's talk prospecting, my friend.
My brother, so glad to be here. Thanks for having me. Welcome, everybody. You guys definitely made a great decision to be here today. We've got so many incredible things to discuss today. And, you know, when you hear the word prospecting, like Jeff said, I think a lot of times we automatically relate that to cold calling. You know, we have some negative thoughts around prospecting, negative feelings around prospecting. But the good news is, and I did research on this years ago on what prospecting really is. And even if you looked up what is prospecting and you Googled it, it would say prospecting is the first step in the sales process, right? And we're all salespeople, all 658 of us that are on this webinar. We are sales professionals. Therefore, we need to shift and change our mindset around prospecting. If we look at the word, we think about prospecting from a negative standpoint, and we have to understand that it really truly is the first step in the sales process. And the goal of prospecting is to have conversations with, you know, potential customers, and the goal is to eventually convert them into a buyer or a seller. And so, like Jeff said in the beginning, prospecting, there's a lot of different ways to prospect. As a matter of fact, if you're selling homes, you're prospecting. You might not think of it as prospecting. You might not call it prospecting, but it really, truly is prospecting. And so we're going to cover a lot of great things today, but there's two things that I've been sharing with everybody that I've been speaking, whether it's in our prospecting boot camp or whether it was in Orlando last month at the Live Unreal Summit. There's two things I believe, because we all know that the market is shifting and has shifted, that we really need to focus on. And I'll even call it three things here in 2023 and beyond. And these three things are an absolute must if we're going to sell more homes, if we're going to help more clients. And you want to write this down. Number one is our skills. We have to focus on our sales skills. We have to get focused on and dialed in on what we're supposed to be saying, how we're supposed to be saying it, and get really good at that, right? Number two is our mindset. Our mindset. We're going to talk a lot about mindset today, because in order to sell a lot of homes, in order to prospect your way to 100 homes, 50 homes, 500 homes, you have to have a bulletproof mindset. Number three is time management, right? We have to work on our skills, we have to work on our mindset, we have to work on our time management. Those three things, if we focus on those three things, we're going to be able to help a lot of people in 2023. And so why right now? Okay, here we are, February 2023. Why is right now one of the greatest opportunities for selling real estate, taking more listings and helping more people? Why is this the greatest opportunity that we've seen since the last crash we had in 2008, 2009? I want to read this statistic to you. In 2006, arguably the best real estate market the United States had seen until recently, there were 1.4 million real estate agents and about 7.1 million homes that sold. Just 6 years later, after the crash in 2012, there were just over 900,000 real estate agents, which was basically a 45% drop in agents. And this doesn't even include agents that kept their license active and mentally checked out, which would make it more like 50 to 60%.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is home sales, however, dropped to 4.6 million, which was only a 35% decline in sales, which meant that there were actually more opportunities to go around for those agents that stuck it out. And so for all of you that are here today, you know, the National Association of Realtors statistics came out last year and said in 2023, 25 to 35% of all real estate agents are going to be out of the business.
I believe it.
The good news is we have two decisions, right? We're either going to survive the shift or we're going to thrive through it. And that's why we put on these webinar series. That's why we're going to be talking about what we're going to be talking about today. And we're excited that you're here. Jeff, do you want to add anything before I get into the content?
No, I just remember those days because, of course, you and I were around. A lot of brokerages, you know, if they had 100 agents, they went down to 50 agents. If they had 200 agents, they went down to 100. If they had, 50 agents, they went down to 30 agents. And what that actually meant, based on those hard numbers, those real stats, there was actually more to go around for those that stuck it out and focused on their skills. And so that's one thing I'm so excited about this new market. And yes, I get it. In the last couple of weeks, it's kind of picked back up and everyone's thinking it's going back the other way. But you know as well as I do, it's not going to stay up or down forever. It's always going to be shifting. I mean, I feel like the term shift probably gets overused because the market is always shifting. The market's spiking again right now because interest rates came down. Well, what happens when interest rates go back up? It's going to shift again. Either way, if NAR is coming out and saying we're going to lose a quarter of the industry, then that is a good thing for every single person that's either watching this live, watching the role play or the replay, or listening to the podcast, because we're in a position to go grab some market share. And I'm more excited than ever right now.
Absolutely. So how do we do that, right? How do we navigate our way to selling more homes? How do we make a decision to sell more homes? How do we prospect our way to selling more homes? I want to talk about what it means to have not just a strong mindset, but a prospecting mindset, right? When you're knocking on doors, when you're picking up the phone and calling, when you're out there intentionally having conversations with people, we know that rejection is involved when it comes to sales, right? People tell us no. Not everybody is going to be a sale. Not everybody's going to want to work with us. And that's okay, right? We have to understand that not everybody is going to say yes. And so how do we have a bulletproof mindset filled with resilience in order to be able to sell more homes? We know that deals are falling apart. Sellers are changing their mind. We know buyers are getting cold feet. We know that homes are expiring. We know that the market is not the same as it was 12 to 24 months ago. So I want to give you guys a handful of bullet points if you're writing these down in order to ensure having a strong mindset, a prospecting mindset, if we're going to prospect and take more deals in 2023. And for those of you guys, that are listening and say, well, how does mindset have anything to do with prospecting and selling more homes? It actually has everything to do with it, because it's the mindset that either causes us to go and sell more homes, and it's the mindset that causes us to pull back and not move forward. Because everybody can read a script, everybody can pick up a phone, everybody can knock on a door, everybody can send a text message, but why don't many do it? It's because of this right here. So let's get into why we need to have a bulletproof, strong prospecting mindset. And how do we do that? Number one, stop watching the news. Stop reading threads in Facebook groups, because there's so much negativity out there. If you want to be a top prospector, if you want to sell more homes, if you want to take more listings, if you want to win, then at the end of the day, we have to remove the negativity and get the noise out from us. Number two is we need to start listening to podcasts and motivational trainings and videos that are going to uplift us and cause us to have a strong positive mindset. You know, we highly recommend anything John Maxwell. We have a great podcast, like Jeff said, the Live Unreal podcast. You can tap into the One Thing podcast. You know, I have a great podcast called the Justin Ford Unleashed podcast. These are podcasts that any one of us can tap into and find something to help us be uplifted and motivated. Number
You
three.
don't wake up, listen, Justin, you don't
Go
wake
ahead.
up with a positive mindset. It's just not natural.
Right.
In fact, most of us wake up with just what I would say is an average mindset. And then we hear something negative, or we read what Inman is publishing about what's going on, or which agent left this brokerage and went to that brokerage. And now the feds are raising interest rates. You got to block all that out and pour constant positive stuff, which is going to cause you to say, yeah, give me that phone. Let's get after it. Right.
Yep, absolutely. And for those of you guys that are here that automatically assume that everybody you see that's winning in life has just a natural, you know, positive mindset or strong mindset, that's not the case, right? It's a choice to choose to have a strong mindset, to build a positive mindset. And that takes work, right? That takes work. Number three, quit hanging around negative people, right? If you want to be a winner, if you want to sell more homes, if you want to be positive, hang around people who are winning, hang around people who are positive, hang around people who are where you want to be, right? Because if you hang around 5 negative people, guess what you are? The 6th negative person, right? But if you hang around 5 winners, you become that 6th winner. Quit hanging around negative people that are tearing you down and surround yourself with people who are winning and want to see you win. The next one is get to conferences, right? You're here today. This is a webinar series that we have. We just had the Live Unreal Summit in Orlando last month. We have the Live Unreal Retreat coming up in June. Get to conferences, because what do? You get to hang out and surround yourself with people that want to be where you are, that are where you want to be, right? You surround yourself with people that are winning. It does something. Next, this is a big one, Jeff. I know you taught me this very early on. Don't be attached to the outcome. Don't be attached to the outcome. I always say this, don't focus on the end result, focus on the process. Don't focus on the end result, focus on the process, because when you focus on the process and you get really good at the process, the end result shows up. Oftentimes, you know, hey, I tried to prospect for a week, it didn't work, so you quit. Hey, I went out on a few listing appointments, I didn't get them signed, I must be not a good agent. Right? We attach ourselves to the end result so much that what happens is we get discouraged and we quit. We can't be attached to the end result. We have to be focused on becoming great at the process. Next, read books, right? Read 2, 3, 5, 10 pages a day out of a book, right? Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Change the way you think and watch your life begin to change. Next, join or create a mastermind mindset group or accountability group. If you haven't joined the Glover U Inner Circle on Facebook yet, get in there. 14,000 agents like you and I that want to win. Next, this is a big one. And I taught this in the class last week. You have to incorporate some type of fitness into your daily routine. Break a sweat, get a breath of fresh air, get out there and get your blood flowing. When you begin to build, you know, fitness into your lifestyle, your endorphins start going, you start feeling more confident, you start feeling better. These have everything to do with how you show up, how you prospect, and how you win in real estate. Jeff, anything else on that before I move into skills?
No, let's get into the skills, because I think at the end of the day, and you know, people always, when they hear mindset stuff, oh, this is all kind of, you know, I want to get to the tactics. But what I love about the mindset stuff is the tactics don't work unless you get right up here, right? The tactics don't matter unless you get right upstairs here. So we have to go through that on any prospecting session. So let's dig into some tactics.
Absolutely. So guys, we're going to talk about the skills necessary and how to go out and set more appointments and how to go out and take more listings. Okay. Number one, and write this down, we want to be sales skills based first, right? You want to be a skills based agent first, and then tech marketing and service enhanced next, right? Not the other way around. A lot of times as agents, we focus on, oh, I got to get my tech in order. I got to get my marketing in order. I got to get my customer service game up. Those are all great. But if we're not really getting good at our sales skills and being a sales skills based real estate agent, we're going to get out there and struggle. Why? Because you can have the best leads, the best service, the best tech, and even the best marketing, but will literally, with little to no sales skills, it's going to be hard to beat out I always say a Glover U trained agent, right? Someone who is trained, someone who is skilled, someone that knows what to say, when to say it, how to say it. A skills-based agent is going to win the majority of the time. Why? Because we don't win listing appointments based on the company we work for, how many homes we sell, how many awards we have. People want to work with us and choose us based on how we make them feel.
Bingo.
And we make them feel confident in us by being skills-based and knowing what we're talking about.
How do you make someone feel a certain way? Unless it's family or friends, you make them feel a certain way based on what you say.
Yep.
Well, what is it that you're saying? Is what you're saying an actual script that you're following? And is it written in a methodical order? It doesn't have to be, this whole idea that scripts are old fashioned or cheesy, or the scripts and sales are so the 90s. No, listen, consumers today, they want a sales professional. They want the best of the best. They want someone who knows exactly what to say and when to say it.
Yep. And just to piggyback off of that, before I go into my next point, 18 months ago, 12 to 18 months ago, you didn't really need a lot of skills to list a home. It pretty much sold right away. And so a seller could pick any real estate agent as long as they knew how to take some photos and put the home on the MLS, it should have sold. Whereas today, we know that homes are sitting, right? Homes are not getting to the closing table as easy as they were. People are asking for concessions now. People are offering, lower offers than asking price. So what does a seller want? They want a skilled agent who can navigate them through that process and get them to the closing table with as much money in their pocket as possible. So that's why being a skills-based agent is so important. Now, sales dialogues, scripts, these do not need to be complicated or feared. In fact, if we were to sum them up, our scripts and dialogues that we have here at Glover U, which you guys can all gain free access to, and we'll put that in the chat, are really just following three things. And I want you to write these three things down, which every real estate professional needs to get good at. Okay. If we're going to sell more homes, if we're going to prospect our way to 100 more transactions, this is the three things we have to do. Number one is we have to get really great at asking great questions. Selling is not telling, selling is asking questions. A lot of times we get on the phone, we show up at the door, we're having conversations, we're telling these potential customers and clients how great we are, how many homes we sell, how great their home is. And we're not asking great questions. And there's two things that we have to discover if we're going to become great salespeople. Number one is their motivation, and number two is their timeline. If we don't discover their motivation and timeline, and we just assume we know what they want, we're going to lose them every time to someone who taps into their motivation and timeline. Yeah.
Because when you tap into their motivation and timeline, Justin, what you're doing actually is you're building more rapport than the next person. If you just follow the script and you're not actually going into how soon they'd like to be there, what's important about that timeline? What happens if we don't meet the timeline? Where are you moving to? What is taking you there? Do you already have a place there? Who do you know there? If you're not getting into the motivation and the time frame, then you're not gaining the right amount of rapport that you're going to need to set the appointment.
Yep, absolutely. And remember, people, choose you based on how you make them feel. And so if you're asking questions and you're building that rapport with them, they're going to feel like, hey, I like this guy or gal.
Yeah.
Number two is actively listening to their answers. A lot of times we ask questions and we don't listen because we're just looking to ask the next question, and we miss out on what their answer is. So number one, you have to ask great questions, but number two, you have to actively listen to their answers. Yeah. Make sure you hear what they're saying. And then number three, like Carol Warren just said, is we have to ask deeper questions based off those answers and go 3 deep. Jeff, do you want to describe what it means to go 3 deep?
Yeah. So if you look at a question on a script, and let me see if I have a piece of paper around here will help me show this off. If you look at a normal script, all right, most scripts are question number one, question number two, question number three, question number four. Most scripts are written in an order like that. What I would recommend and suggest is that instead of question number one and then question number two, you have question number one, and then you have question 1A, and then you have question 1B. and then you have question 1C. We're not moving forward to question number 2, which then would come down here. We're not moving forward to question number 2 until we go 3 deep on the question number 1. Well, if question number 1 is where are you moving to? And question number 2 is what takes you there? Before I even get to what takes you there, I'm saying, question number 2 would be how soon would you like to be there in most scripts. I'm looking at question number 1 where it says, where are you moving to? 1A, what takes you there? 1B, how long you've been thinking about moving there? 1C, who else do you know there? All right, now I go to question number 2. How soon would you like to be there? And then 2A would be what's important about that deadline. 2B, what happens if we don't meet that time frame? That's going 3 deep, adding 3 additional questions to the questions that are on the script.
The more you can never have not enough information. And the reason why we need to know this information is so that when we have all the information, we can close them for an appointment. Okay. So again, to reiterate those 3, number 1, ask great questions. Number 2, actively listen to their answers. And number 3, ask deeper questions based off their answers and go 3 deep. Okay. Super, super important. Next point, mastering dialogues, mastering conversations involves doing the following 3 things. Okay. So how do we get great at our dialogues, right? Oftentimes people are like, why, when I read a script, I sound like a telemarketer. I sound like a robot. Yes, you're right. You do if you're just reading off of a script. But what's awesome about this skill of prospecting is you can expedite the learning curve by how much you actually spend time working on the skill. Meaning, number 1, how do we master dialogues? We have to write them out every day. We have to write them out every day, right? When I teach our prospecting boot camp, or I'm even teaching my own team members on how to get really good at the scripts, I'm saying, listen, you got to write out the expired script 3 to 5 times a day. 3 to 5 times a day? What are you talking about, Justin? That's crazy. Hey, do you want to be an amateur? Do you want to be a professional? Well, I want to be a professional. Well, then you got to do what professionals do. And what do professionals do? They practice, right? And so we need to write out the scripts every day. What does writing out the scripts do every day? It allows us to internalize the scripts. Why do you want to internalize the scripts? So you don't sound like a telemarketer. Number 2, we have to chant them daily. Chant them daily. What does it mean to chant them daily? You pull out the script. Hi, good morning. My name is Justin Ford. I'm a local realtor. I was calling about the home for sale. Is it still available? And you're reading the script out loud. When I worked for Jeff 10 years ago, we had to write out the scripts every day. We had to chant their scripts every day. And then number 3, we had to role play them daily. Role play them daily. What does role playing look like? That means I'm the seller, Jeff's the agent. He calls me up. He reads the script. I give him, answers. I give him objections, and then we switch. I'm the agent. Jeff's the seller. We role play and we go back and forth. Jeff, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, no, listen, the role play in itself. I mean, I went 7 years. I had a role play partner every single day of the week. People thought I was crazy because they'd say, Jeff, you're selling 100 homes a year. I think one of the years I hit 220 was my peak. Yeah, you're selling 100, 200 homes per year. Why do you still role play every day? And the answer is because there's always somebody out there that's better. There's always somebody out there that's more skilled. I'm not, until I'm taking 100% of the listings, I should be role playing every single day because I know that I have room for improvement always.
Yep, absolutely. And just look at from a sports standpoint, Jeff said him and I are big Detroit Lions fans. They play 4 15-minute quarters. That means 60 minutes a week, but yet they practice hours and hours and hours running the same plays over and over and over and over and over. Why? So that when they're in the game and actually run the play, hopefully they execute it. No different than this. We got to get really, really good practicing so that we're really, really good in the game. Okay. Also, I want everybody to understand that conversations lead to conversion, right? Conversations lead to conversion. What does that mean? Well, if you understand what it means to prospect, it's really a numbers game, right? It's really a numbers game, right? What does that mean? The more people you talk to, the more appointments you're going to set. And the more appointments you set, the more appointments you go on. The more appointments you go on, the more contracts you will get signed. And the more contracts you get signed, the more closings you'll have. Jim Rohn calls it the law of averages, which just means if you do something over and over and over, sooner or later, somebody's going to say yes. A lot of times we don't prospect because of the fear of rejection, or we don't, like the prospect because we don't like being told no. Well, guess what? we have to change our mindset around that. I want you to write this down. Number one is expect the no. The majority of people are going to tell you no. The majority of people tell me no. The majority of people tell Jeff Glover no. We don't care that people are going to tell us no. We expect the no. We're really just looking for 1, 2, 3 people per day to say yes.
And the majority, you're kind of saying that lightly, because majority is 51%. The mass majority, more like 90 to 95%, are going to say no. That's not who we're looking for. We're looking for the one.
Yep, we're looking for the one. And so if you're struggling in your business right now, if you're not making the amount of money you want to make, you're not taking the amount of listings you want to take, the answer is simple. We're just not having enough conversations.
Yep.
We're just not having enough conversations. So we have to commit to conversations. And what is conversations? It's prospecting. That's why we're here today.
Justin, you know something that really helped me grasp this, and I think that our attendees will appreciate this. Take your average. So when you start working with us, and I know a lot of people have gone through your prospecting boot camp, and I know one of your sessions is all about tracking numbers, knowing your numbers, understanding your ratios.
Yep.
And one thing I had a coach do with me years ago. In fact, I actually think it was Kathy Schweitzer, who's now part of our coaching group. She had me figure out my profit. Watch this, Justin. Profit per contact.
Yeah.
Profit per contact. And so how do you figure that out? Well, if you're tracking your numbers each day, then you're going to get to a point where, let's just say hypothetically, it takes me 287 contacts per closing, right? If you work with us long enough, you're going to know your contacts to appointment set, your appointment set to appointment gone on. You're going to know how many appointments you need to go on to get a listing contract signed. You're going to need how many listings you need to take to have one sell, how many you need to sell to have one close. You're going to know all of your numbers. Well, if you know all your numbers and you can figure out, and you're tracking your daily contacts, because we do that every single day. Yep. We do that with our team. I know Justin does with his prospecting. Our coaching clients, they have access to Sisu. We include that for free. So they have a chance to track their numbers every single day. And what's really cool, I remember doing this activity, and it'll help kind of bridge the gap between all the no's to get you a deal. Well, if you take your average commission and divide it by how many contacts you had to make. Okay. Now, most of you watching this may not have any idea how to do this because you're not tracking your daily contacts. But after you start working with us, you will. I figured out, Justin, every single no that I got was worth like $270. So
Right.
I loved it. Hey, somebody told me no, $270. Oh, told me no, $270, told me no, right? Every single no I got, I knew was worth a dollar amount. So yeah, I was happy. It was like cha-ching every time I was told no, because I figured out how many contacts per closing I needed to make. And I knew that number of my averages. And of course, that helped me accept the rejection that came along with it.
Yep. Yeah. Nobody likes rejection naturally. So what we do is help teach you to change your mindset around it. And so I know it sounds easy, but why isn't it, right? It goes back to we don't know what to say, right? So we don't prospect. So that goes back to skill work, fear of rejection, like Jeff was just talking about. We change our mindset around it. And a lot of times we're not following the system. Many people just get on and wing it. Well, we have a system, that we teach here at Glover U on how to really dial in and follow it. And then lastly, a lot of times we don't follow a strong schedule, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. But let's get into some more nuts and bolts of really the sources of business to focus on moving forward. So we touched on mindset. We talked about the importance of getting your skills together. What are some of the sources of business that everyone on this call should be focusing on moving forward? Number one is we're seeing more expired listings than ever than we have in the last 5 years. Jeff and I did our like you said, our New Year's prospecting session on the 1st and the 2nd. And in 2 days here in Metro Detroit, there were over 1,000 expired listings. Whereas 6 months ago, 12 months ago, we'd be lucky to see 10 in one day.
Yeah. We didn't have 1,000 in an entire month.
No.
And, obviously every market is a little different size, but most markets, Justin, I mean, we have a coaching client up in the middle of Vermont, like literally in the woods, and he even had 50 to 60 expireds on that day. So no, there was tons, and we're seeing more and more on an average day than we've seen in the last 5 years. You're right.
Yep. So expired listings. And if you guys were watching, when Jeff and I were prospecting on day 2, I called an expired listing. It was for a vacant land for like 150,000. A lot of times people skip over vacant land. I set the appointment. And when I got there, they said they actually also wanted to list their $750,000 house. which is going live next week. So it's like by making calls and by having conversations, it's going to lead to appointments. And so everybody in this webinar right now should be dialing into expired listings in your market. There's a lot of them. And what does an expired listing need? They need a great agent. And so the mindset around an expired listing should be, I'm going to go be the great agent that they need. Number two, they're still for sale by owners. In every market, there's going to be people who feel confident that they can do it themselves. But the reality is, in a more balanced market, only 2% of for sale by owners actually sell. 98% end up listing it with an agent. And out of the 2% that actually do sell, they usually net around 88% of the asking price. Whereas a great agent like you, myself, Jeff, his team, my team, can net them a lot more, right? So it's all about overcoming the obstacles and the objections to get an appointment. And all you have to do is convince a for sale by owner that they can put more money in their pocket working with you than they can themselves, and you've got them. Why? Because an objection is just an unanswered question in the mind of a seller, and we just have to get really good at answering their questions. You should be calling all your past buyer leads that haven't bought yet. This is still a great source. Yes, we talk about going out and getting more listings, but we also understand that there's a lot of great buyer opportunities to prospect, right? So everybody last year that wasn't able to buy a house because they kept getting beat out, well, guess what? It's time to start looking again. Jeff, what would you say about that?
Yeah, listen, the buyers got scared because of the interest rates, and you guys know just as well as we do, the activity in the real estate market, once June 1st rolled around, it like took a nosedive. Well, now that the interest rates are back to, a little bit more of a reasonable number, and they're not going to stay there long. I mean, I think they're actually probably going to start going back up again. That's a great reason to reach out to all your buyers, let them know the Fed's just raised interest rates. You have a lot of the prospecting we do is you got to find a reason to reach out. This is a great reason to reach out. You have an opportunity to get into the market while there's less competition, right? You got less buyers that you're competing with, less multiple offer situations, and rates, although they're not, the historic 3% like we saw, they're anticipated to go up. And the Fed's just raised rates, which could cause interest rates to go up at some point. So use that as a reason to reach out.
Absolutely. And so what we're going to do now is I want to go a little bit deeper on expired listings. We're going to talk about expireds. We're going to talk about how to get out in front of expireds. We're going to talk about some other lead sources. And we're going to tell you guys, because I see a lot of comments in the chat of how to actually find expired and for sale by owner contact information. We're going to give you guys that information here in a few minutes. But I want to give you 3 keys to succeeding with expired listings, okay? Number 1, their home didn't sell because of their agent, and they need to buy into that, right? They need to buy into that the reason why their home didn't sell was because of the agent that they were working with. Now, is it always our fault that a home doesn't sell? I mean, some would say yes. I mean, a seller would always say yes. We can say, well, it wasn't, completely our fault. They wouldn't lower the price. Well, we might have been the one to, initiate the price initially or agree with their initial price, and it was a little overpriced. So let's just assume that it's always the agent's fault. Well, when you're talking to an expired listing, they need to know that the home didn't sell because of their previous agent, and you need to get them to buy into that. Number 2, you need to help them understand that a different plan is what they need. A different plan is what they need, period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Because guess what? And this is what you want to share with them, because a lot of times people think, well, what are you going to do differently than the last guy or gal? Well, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if all the agents did the same thing, wouldn't they all get the same results?
Yep.
And we know that that's not the case, right? We know that we don't all do the same thing, because if we did, we'd all get the same results. And then number 3, get them back to where they were in terms of motivation when they first listed. What was their motivation? One of the very first questions I ask when I call an expired, oh, we're not looking to list, we're looking to take it off the market. Hey, you know what? I can totally appreciate that, Mr. Seller. What was the main reason why you were looking to sell your home in the first place? Mm-hmm. I'm tapping into their motivation. Why?
They don't want to talk about getting their home back on the market. They don't want to talk about showings and another sign in the yard. They are open to talking about why they were moving, where they were going, what took place while their home was on the market.
Yep. And so we have to understand that and tap back into their motivation. Oftentimes I see so many real estate agents, again, just telling them stuff not asking questions. Okay. Selling is not telling, selling is asking questions. Okay. Now, where do you find expireds, right? Because I've seen some of those questions in here. You can find your expireds through RedX, Vulcan 7, right? Land Voice. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. And what's great is we actually, Jeff, if you want to share what we have we on the website as far as RedX.
Yeah, they just threw it down in the chat. If you go to glovery.com/affiliates, you'll have all the information on who we use to find expire data for sale by owner data. Basically, you know, the dialer that we use, and they give discounts to all the people that work with us. And there it is in the chat again.
Yep. And I've used Vulcan 7 for 10 years, and it's a great dialer. I know Jeff has used it. He also uses RedX. So
Yep.
a great place to find expireds and for sale by owners.
Mhm.
And so when you're actually calling for sale by owners and expireds, I saw somebody that put in the chat, what's a contact? Because we recommend, you know, making minimum, you know, 25 to 35 contacts, maybe more depending on where your business is. Jeff, how do you define a contact?
A contact is a response from a decision-making adult, a response from a decision-making adult. So the response could be go fly a kite, or the response could be when could you come out? Either way, did they respond? Did they respond to your email? Did they respond to your text message? Did they respond to your phone call? A response is a contact.
Yep. And there's a lot of different types of expireds, meaning, you know, first and foremost, we say you should be calling the newest expireds every day, or door knocking the newest expireds every day. And we call that the last 24 to 48 hours. After you've called them, door knocked them, sent them a text message, which we're going to give you guys some ideas on how to do that in a moment, then you should hit what we call the newer expireds, which is the last 3 to 7 days. Then go to the older expireds, 8 to 30 days. Then you go to the oldest, 31 plus days to 2 years. Many of us, right, in the north, it's winter, right? So some of you guys don't experience winter, you know, all year round, you know, or you guys have nice weather all year round. We experience winter. So one of the objections we get a lot of times is, I'm just taking it off the market. Call me back in the spring. Call me back after the holidays. Call me after wintertime. Well, for those of you guys that have gotten those type of objections or answers, in the next 15, 20, 30 days, this is the time you want to call them. Hey, you know, I know back in October you came off the market and you mentioned that you were going to be, you know, looking to get your home listed here in the spring again. Call all those people. There's so many of those people who are going to be ready to pull the trigger here in the next 30 days. And you want to get out in front of the other agents that are going to call in 45 to 60 days. Start calling now. Okay. So there's multiple different ways and methods of working expireds. We're going to give you guys a few. Obviously, you can call them, right? You can pick up the phone and call them. And I say calling expireds, calling for sale by owners is the fastest way to a now transaction. It really is. You can call someone today, set an appointment same day, get out on the appointment later on this afternoon, get the listing signed, have it on the market in less than a week, and it's under contract in 2 weeks. Like, where else can you get a now deal faster than that, right? Yep. Another thing that you can do is you can text them. You can do a text where you just send words, or you can text and send a video. Jeff, I love when you teach on this. What's the script, whether you text it or do a video?
Yeah, the best script to get a response via text message is, I was wondering if you're still accepting offers on your home on blank street. Very simple. You'll get a lot of responses to that. I was wondering if you're still not, hey, did you know your home came off the market? Not, hey, here's 17 reasons why homes don't sell. Hey, here's the 62 things we do to sell homes. No. Very simple. Are you still accepting offers on your home on blank street? And if you're going to be sending it out via email, which I know that's probably the next one on Justin's list to share, same thing. Subject line, are you ... Body of the email, still accepting offers on your home on blank street ? Are you still accepting offers on your home on blank street ? That will get you responses. Now, some people would say, well, what happens when they say yes? Great, calling you in a few. Well, then what do? Then you go right into the script.
Yep.
Well, Jeff, I don't have a buyer for their house. How do you know if you have a buyer? Have you seen their house yet? Well, I guess that's true. Exactly. Same thing I would tell a seller. Hey, do you have a buyer for my home? I don't know. I haven't seen your house yet, but I'd love to swing by and take a look. Of course, I'll keep it in mind for buyers that we have. And also, by the way, when the home was on the market before, you were planning on moving somewhere. Where were you moving to? Go right into the script.
Yep. Absolutely. And then obviously you can email, like Jeff said, you can knock on the door, you can send direct mail. I know Jeff and his team send a letter in the mail every day to all the expireds, right? You can reach out to people on social media, and you can also do geofencing, okay? Now, what should you expect when calling expireds? Well, obviously you're going to get objections. Don't be afraid of objections. Objections are actually a good thing. And the good news is, for those of you that have not started working with expireds or for sale by owners, there's generally only 4 to 5 to 6 objections that you're going to get when you call expireds, when you call for sale by owners. And I just want to give you 4 that you'll typically see with an expired listing. And Jeff, you can add into this. And so all you have to do really is just get good at learning how to overcome these 4 objections. Number 1, I'm going to stay with the same agent. Number 2, I'm going to sell it myself. Number 3, I'm taking it off the market. We've decided not to move. And number 4, I've already found an agent. That's it. Yep. Pretty much with expireds, that's what you're going to hear. And so what do we need to do? We just have to get really good at knowing how to respond. So I want to give you, Jeff, did you want to touch on that, or I'm going to give them?
No, that's good. Keep going. Yeah, no, those are good.
So let's say the seller says, I'm going to stay with the same agent. This is what you would say. That's great. And what I'm hearing you saying is you feel obligated to your last agent since they've invested a lot of time and money in your home, correct? Yes. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you don't owe me anything, and you don't really owe them anything, but you do owe it to yourself to have the very best. It certainly wouldn't hurt to hear what I do to get 100 homes sold a year, would it?
Not at all.
Not at all. Or you could say, I understand that, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, and let me ask you a question. If you stay with the same agent, what are they going to do different this time around that they didn't do last time to sell your home? I actually just took a listing last week with this one. The guy had an agent that he was working with. It expired and came off the market. He was getting ready to relist it with an agent. It had been on the market 200 days. And I said, Mr. Seller, I can totally appreciate, that you are working with this seller. What has that agent presented to you anything that they're going to do differently to get your home sold this time around? And you know what he said? No. I said, okay, great. If I could give you a second opinion and show you what we do differently to help you get your home sold, would you be open to meeting with me for about 20 or 30 minutes? He said, absolutely. I just got the list.
Boom. I love that.
I mean, that's it, right? Another one you're going to hear, I'm going to sell it myself, right? Because a lot of times a seller will think, well, I tried it with an agent. I'm going to be better off doing it myself. I still don't understand that logic. But here's what you say as an agent. After what you've been through, I understand. And I would feel the same way. Mr. Seller, you are generally better off to be a for sale by owner than to be with an agent that did their best, yet they couldn't get the job sold. I would like to apply for the job of selling your home and show you what we do differently. Do you have some time available between 4 and 5 or between 5 and 6? Or you know what I mean? Or you could say something like this. I can appreciate that. And what I sense is you are disappointed that your home didn't sell and feel your agent didn't get the job done. And I'm sure if you work with the right agent, that you want to make sure you get the best possible agent for the job of selling your home. What are you looking for in your next agent, right?
Yep.
And so another one is, I'm going to take it off the market. We've decided not to move. First and foremost, you need to understand the difference between an objection and a condition. An objection is something that you need to overcome. A condition is, I was selling my home because I was moving to Florida for a job transfer, and we decided not to sell our home because the job fell through, right? And the way that you identify the difference between an objection and a condition is this. Well, you know what, Jeff? So what I hear you saying is the only reason why you were looking to sell your home was because you had a job opportunity in Florida. Is that correct?
That's right.
And now that the job fell through, you're not looking to move down to Florida. Is that correct?
Not anymore. No.
Okay, Jeff, I see that your home was listed for $400,000. And so if a buyer showed up on your doorstep today with a briefcase full of cash for $400,000, what I hear you saying is you wouldn't take the $400,000 cash?
Well, if it was cash and it was my asking price, but I still might move. I still might consider moving.
And if that's the answer, then it wasn't a condition, right? It was an objection. But if Jeff came back and said, nope, you could bring me $500,000 cash and I still wouldn't sell it, that's when you know it's an objection. Okay. And so we've got a ton of these guys that that we can share with you. Again, I think we shared there it is, text scripts to 444 to get access to our scripts book, and you can check into that. But we know that there's a lot of other ways that you can obviously prospect for business, get out in front of business. And so there's a lot of us that have incoming leads through internet business, right? Your home lights, your top agents ranked, you've got Zillow, you've got Redfin. There's a lot of different, ways that we all get business in the funnel. And so we have a formula that we follow called ALM, right? It's called ALM. And what ALM means is it's a process that we need to follow when converting online leads.
Yeah.
And so once you get an online lead to respond to you, to increase your conversion, we highly recommend following this model that we call ALM. Okay. Now, obviously, it goes against traditional wisdom of closing for the buyer consultation first. It will get you more appointments set with online leads, which will lead to more closings later. Jeff, did you want to touch on why we're going
this model's actually been around for a few years. We used it. We started using it in our business about 18 months ago, and we're just now sharing it with audiences because we have seen a major impact in conversion on our online leads by using this. And so ALM is absolutely the way that we treat every single online lead that comes into our funnel today. I'll let you explain it.
Yep. And the A stands for appointment, meaning you're going to close for the appointment first. Mr. or Mrs. Buyer, when would you like to take a look at that property?
Yeah, go right for it. Go right for it. First line, for those of you that get your hands on our script book, you can find those online. First line in the buyer script, in the online lead script, is when would you like to see that home? That's right. So appointment first.
Yep.
Next is
location. Find out where else they are looking, what other properties interest them, right? Because they're probably, a lot of times, we know online leads are calling you for this property, this other agent for the other property, and they're just bouncing around for all these other agents. And so when you're tapping into their location, you're really looking for, are they working with other agents? Are they scheduling appointments for, with other properties? You want them to know that they can see all those properties with you, right? And then the M stands for motivation. Get information on their timeline, on their motivation, on their qualifications. And what you really want to do is get out there and set the appointment. Did you want to say something else on that, Jeff?
Yeah, just get in front of them. The more people you get in front of, one of our isms is, if I didn't go on an appointment today, seriously, what did I accomplish? Just get in front of people. The more people you get in front of, the more business you'll do, period. Don't complicate it. Just go get in front of people. By the way, we didn't say don't do a buyer consultation. What we're saying is don't bring up the buyer consultation in your initial call with them. They're not interested in talking about the buyer consultation. They can click around on their phone and go get the appointment set up with somebody else. If you're not going to give them what they want, they're going to go find someone else to do it. Appointment first.
Absolutely. And guys, just as a reminder, the webinar goes to 12:15, and we'll definitely have you guys out of here in time. So stick around. We've got a few more things that we want to touch on. And so what happens though when you don't get in touch with them, right? What is the sequence or the formula that you should follow when an online lead comes in? We call it 3x3 by 3x3. We call this the rules to live by when online leads come in. Oftentimes we see agents chase a lead or a prospect for weeks and months and, long periods of time when they never answer. We call this the 3x3 by 3x3. This is the same formula Jeff and his team use, me and my team use, and this works really well. So 3x3 by 3x3 stands for this: 3 calls, 3 texts, either text messages, private messages, DMs, 3 emails for 3 days, right? So if a lead comes in, what should you do? You should call them immediately, right? Pick up the phone, you call them. Now, I don't know if you guys have noticed this. I'm sure you have. I know I've noticed this. Most people don't answer on the first call. So it's almost like I want to add a, part A underneath this is when you make the first call, hang up and call right back. I call it the double tap. And the double tap means they're probably not going to answer on the first call because they don't know your number. We all get scam likely calls. We all get robocallers calling all the time. I don't even answer my phone a lot of times to people I don't know. But when that same number pops up a second time, try it out. 60% of the time, they answer on the second dial. So I say, make the phone call, hang up. If they don't answer, call right back. 60% of the time, they're going to answer. If they don't, send them a text message, right? And if you're using a CRM, you can save these text templates into your CRM so you don't actually have to text it. If you don't have a CRM, create the text template. And Jeff, you can obviously tell them what that text should say, and then save it like in your notepad on your phone so you can copy and paste it. What should that first text say, Jeff?
So the first text is, of course, if they inquired on a property,
Yep.
all right, you're acknowledging that they inquired on 123 Banana Street, and you're going to go right for it. When would you like to see it? I've got a time. I've got availability tonight at 5 and tomorrow at 3:30. Let me know which one of those two works best. So you're going to go right for the appointment in your first text.
Yep. So if they don't respond to your text, you send them an email as well. And you repeat that, right? So you're going to call 3 calls per day. So you're going to call in the afternoon. You're going to send another text. You're going to send another email. And then in the end of the day, you're going to do another call. You're going to do another text. You're going to do another email. So you're doing 3 calls a day, 3 texts a day, 3 emails a day. And you're going to repeat that for 3 days. If they don't answer, throw them into your CRM and keep moving, right? Put them on an auto drip, right, Jeff?
That's right.
Something to understand, especially if you're signed up for leads or you're paying for leads, speed to lead, right? What's the percentage, Jeff, of people, what's the percentage where they work with the first agent that they talk to?
Oh gosh, it's in like 60-70%.
60 to 70%, guys. 60 to 70% of the people are going to talk to the first agent or work with the first agent they talk to. So speed to lead has to be like one of the top things when you're doing this. Also, we have to remember that our CRM is not our assistant. It's not our primary tool. Now you can have, like I use Follow Boss. So my phone number, my calls I make, my text messages, my emails are all done on there, but I don't rely on the CRM to do the conversion for me. I do the 3x3x3x3, and then I put it into a drip campaign. Then I let it go. Okay. And then last but not least, we're going to wrap it up here with time management. I told you guys in the beginning, mindset, skills, and time management. We've talked a lot about mindset. We've talked a lot about skills. I want to end it with time management. But before I do that, if you guys are getting some great value today, do me a favor and drop a 777 in the chat. If this has been worthwhile for you guys being here today, we want to know that this has been some good stuff that's going to help you. Look at all those 7s, Jeff. That's awesome. That's what we like to hear. We want to deliver content. We want to deliver stuff to you guys that really helps you, okay? Now, Jeff mentioned several Glover isms that we have here, and one of the biggest ones is own the morning, win the day. Own the morning, win the day, right? And when you have a strong morning routine, meaning you know exactly what time you wake up, you have the same routine that you do after you wake up, and you got to write this down. Every single agent here on this webinar today should have a non-negotiable start time every day, no matter what. What time does your real estate day start every day? Non-negotiable start time, right? You know, Jeff, you taught me very early on because I started my career with you. You said no closings in the morning, right? No listing appointments in the morning, no buyer consultations in the morning, because the morning has to be set aside for our lead gen time, our prospecting time. And so another thing that you have to have in your morning routine is I'd say 2.5 to 3 hours of lead generation and prospecting time, right? We start the day at 8 a.m. prospecting and lead generating till 10:30, 11. That means you're calling for sale by owners. You're calling expireds. You know, you're calling your database. You're doing circle prospecting, right? You're spending 2.5 to 3 hours of conversations. Why? Because conversations lead us to conversion, right? Then we have to have 30 to 60 minutes of lead follow-up time, lead follow-up and lead conversion time every day for 30 to 60 minutes. Because if you're talking to 25 to 35 people every day, you're going to have a lot of people to follow up with. Okay. Next, after you've done your morning routine of prospecting and lead generation, take a lunch, right? One of the things I know Jeff taught me to do at lunch, go work out, right? Go work out at lunch, go, have a good lunch, take some time to kind of reset, get back to the office, get back to your desk. This is when you do your admin time and your appointment preparation. Prep for the afternoon appointments between 2 and 4, and then listing and buyer appointments in the afternoon and evening between 4 and 7, right? If you follow a schedule like that, okay, if you know your schedule every day, you follow your schedule every day, you do the same stuff every day, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be more confident and you're going to get more results and you're going to feel like you have control of your business. Jeff, I'll hand it over to you.
Awesome. Yes. Now here's the deal. What you just experienced was a good, hour and 10 minutes of real estate, real raw, real knowledge, information of stuff that we're using right now. And if this is something based on what you experienced that, obviously based on all the 777s we saw that you got value in, and you want 16 weeks of this, you have an opportunity to work with Justin directly through his program called Prospecting Bootcamp. You saw it probably dropped in the chat a few times. And so this is without question, and there it is on your screen. It's also in your workbook. Prospecting Bootcamp is without question for a market like this. No matter what your skill level, no matter how many years in the business, absolutely, this is one for everything that you're looking to accomplish in 2023. This program particularly is $299 per month for just 4 months. So I don't know, what is that, $1,200? I mean, Justin, they'll probably get $1,200 worth of value in just the first session, but they're going to get 16 live sessions with you. It's 45 minutes of content, and then it's 10 minutes of Q&A. So they have an opportunity to ask questions after the sessions. It's not just you talking at them for 45 minutes. They have an opportunity to ask questions. There's also an accountability piece that goes along with it. But anyways, this is, a lot of people ask, hey, how do we coach with Justin? How do we coach with Justin? Well, he's got a waiting list of people that want to coach with him one-on-one. This is the most affordable way that you can get to coach with Justin directly, and you get him for 16 weeks live. So Justin, what do you want to add to that?
And I always say this, when we think about an investment into a group like this, $299 a month for 4 months, $1,200 investment, how many listings would it take for you to sell in order to recoup a $1,200 investment? I always say maybe a third, an eighth of a listing, a quarter of a listing. Yeah. And here's what I know, right? For those of you that have been in my boot camp and that are here in this class even now, if you follow what I teach and you actually do the work, your listings are going to go through the roof. Andrew Pepper took the class, 18 listings he took in 4 months, right? Brent, who's on here, Bashong, like his listings have blown up. Happy birthday, by the way, Brent. So many of the, people who have gone through this class, Eric recently last month, Eric went through the class and he's got multiple listings above $1 million, never prospected before. Mm-hmm. This class, guys, you'll learn everything you need to know, from conversation to mindset to skills, everything that Jeff has done and taught his team to sell 1,000 homes a year, everything that I do on average to sell 100 homes a year. We give you everything. We hold nothing back. And talk about value just from one lesson. How would you like to know Jeff's and his team's top 25 sources of business that they use to sell 1,000 homes a year? I teach it all to you. I give you everything. There's nothing I hold back. I give it to you. And if you guys want to take your business to the next level, sell more homes, take more listings in 2023, you got to be in this class.
Well, and it's not just, I know it's called Prospecting Bootcamp, but really you teach a lot of sales skills, and those sales skills are transferable to working with buyers, to going on listing appointments, to buyer consultations. I mean, it very much is a sales skills course. Obviously we have listing mastery, and people will take Prospecting Bootcamp to generate the leads, because at the end of the day, what good is it to know how to present a great listing presentation without an actual way to get the appointments, a way to generate the leads? And so you cover everything from start to finish as it relates to lead generation, lead follow-up, lead conversion, pre-qualifying, appointment setting, all of that.
Yeah. And not just phone calls, guys, social media, database, right? Knocking on doors, just listed, just sold. The 4 personality styles that you absolutely must know to convert at a higher level. The difference between lead follow-up, lead conversion, all the scripts, all the dialogues, we role play together, we do homework together. It is an absolutely amazing class, and I'd love to have you in.
Yeah, there's a lot of good accountability in there as well. For more information, text the word prospecting to 55444. It starts Monday. Text the word prospecting to 55444, the same number that you texted for the daily message and for the scripts. Also, you can go online to gloveru.com. Anything else you want to add, Justin?
Nope, that's it. What a great webinar. Thank you guys for being here, and super excited to hopefully see you guys in the Prospecting Bootcamp.
And here's the deal. Thank you everyone for joining us for this winter webinar series. We had a great time over the last 6 sessions. We hope you got enough value to kickstart your year off strong. And if we don't see you in Justin's prospecting boot camp, then we better see you in Traverse City this summer for the Live on Real retreat. That's our main event. We've got Ed Milet as our keynote and a few others that we have not even announced yet. So come check us out. That early bird price is $399 for the 4 full days. Breakout, one-on-ones, interviews, masterminds, you name it. That's at the Glover U Live on Real retreat up in Traverse City, Michigan. We'll see you next week. The classes start next week. Let's have a good one. Thanks everyone for taking a chance on us. We're here for you. Have a great rest of your week. See you guys.